Hello, Matthew Welch, September 27th, 2021. Here is a copy of my note card, just the front. I'm going to be doing a brief overview of the integumentary system today. The integumentary system is one of the body systems, and it has a few different functions that includes protection, the synthesis of lipids, responses to possible cancers, helps to provide with our sensory input, synthesizes vitamin D3. It will also excrete various secretions, as well as provide for thermoregulation. There's two main components to this system. That's going to be the cutaneous membrane, or what we know as the skin, and as well as some accessory structures. I'm going to cover the skin first. The skin consists of two main divisions: the epidermis, which is the outer division, or the one more towards the surface, and then the dermis, which is below the epidermis. The epidermis itself is going to have 4 to 5 layers, depending on where in the body you are examining. These layers are made up of stratified squamous epithelial cells that begin in the basal layer, the stratum basal layer, as basilar stem cells, and here they will also mix with melanocytes to, depending on the amount of UV ray exposure, to kind of start pigmenting those cells. As those cells divide, they'll be pushed up into the stratum spinosum. Here, they will continue further maturation, as is also the site of some Langerhans cells that will help to respond to possible cancers that which is one of the purposes of the system that we just spoke about. The next layer is going to be the stratum granulosum layer. This is going to be the thickest, one of the thicker layers of the epidermis. Here you have the beginnings of the keratinization of the the squamous epithelial cells, and where the cells will, the last layer, the layer where the cells are still alive, and as they are exiting this layer and being pushed into the outermost layer, which is the stratum corneum, this is where the cells lose their nucleus and become dead cells. The stratum corneum is the outermost layer, where you just have layers upon layers of dead epithelial cells that, as they get pushed to the surface, will eventually slough off. In the hands and the feet, or areas where we have a lot more of a kind of mechanical strain, you're going to have one extra layer called the stratum lucidum, which is a very thin layer of tightly kind of compacted epithelial cells. Just below that, we're going to have the dermis. The dermis is connective tissue, and the layer just below the epidermis is called the papillary layer. This is made up of loose connective tissue, and it's kind of arranged in kind of a fingery sort of pattern that helps kind of attach that epidermis above it. And in this layer, we also have some capillaries as well as some nerve endings. Just below that is going to be the reticular layer. This is going to be dense connective tissue. Again, provides an attachment point for the layers above it. And this is also going to be the site of a lot of our accessory structures, such as hair follicles and some of the glands we're going to talk about. Those accessory structures include hair and hair follicles. Hair follicles originate kind of in that epidermal dermal layer and extend outward. The purpose there is to provide protection from like the ears and the nose from bacteria and debris, as well as assist with sensory input. We also have sebaceous glands. These are kind of attached to the hair follicle to help coat the hair root in an oily substance that lubricates it, as well as will help lubricate the epidermal layers. We also have two different kinds of sweat glands. We have apocrine sweat glands, which are not very widespread. We find those mainly in the armpits and the groin. They secrete a viscous sort of secretion. This is where you get that kind of attracts bacteria. This is why you wear deodorant to cover that up. But they believe it has to do with some protection, as well as maybe pheromone release and some subconscious communication. And then the other kind of sweat gland, the eccrine sweat glands. These are the sweat glands that are widely distributed, and these really just assist in thermal regulation by the release of a watery substance. I'm hoping to be a physician's assistant, so one way that I might come into contact with the skin, I mean, there's a variety of ways, but as a paramedic also, we deal quite a bit with burns. Burns are classified based on how badly or how deeply they affect the skin. So a first-degree burn would just be the outer layers, and that goes all the way to a severe third-degree burn, which can char all the way through the epidermis and the dermis in some cases. It can range anywhere from a minor discomfort of the sunburn to major life-threatening issues of a third-degree burn. A third-degree burn will essentially, if it's widespread enough, cause hypothermia, as the body loses the ability to thermoregulate. as well as causing issues with the displacement of fluid and where that fluid goes and other systems and impacts other systems in the body. So treatment would be anything from minor pain control for a sunburn to major resuscitative efforts, skin grafting, and plastic surgery for more severe burns. So understanding the system is very important to my future as a physician's assistant, as I will likely come into contact with disease processes and injury to the integumentary system. So thank you very much and have a good day.